Right, greetings everybody. Robin here from Courage is the Cure, and it is the 20th of November 2024. And hasn't it been a little while since I have done a live? And this is episode 95. It can't really say morning rise because it's not morning here, and I'm sure it's not morning in the eastern states if you're watching from there. Might be overseas. We are streaming to ye olde YouTube today, so that's fun. But anyway, I thought it was thought it might be a good episode to stream to YouTube. So anyway, greetings everybody. So today the show is called 3 Bills for Your Safety, not punishment, or invasion of privacy or anything like that. 3 bills for your safety. We're going to be covering the Digital ID Bill, the MAD Bill, Mis and Disinformation Bill, and the under 16-year-old ban, and the plans or thoughts, discussions, debates about that bill as well. So there's the old thumbnail for everybody's entertainment. Digital ID, MAD, and under 16 year ban. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So hello, how are you, my faithful YouTube Satan fan? Nice to see you here. Welcome. Hi Rex, hi Robert, how you going? So people have got pretty excited saying that the mis and disinformation bill it's been crushed. It's been crushed, everybody reckons. So should we watch a video that illustrates the way that everybody's feeling about this bill? Let's enjoy this. So if you didn't get it, the I don't know which one is the boat the government and the dog and the lady's the bill, or is the bill the boat and the dog and the lady is the government? I don't know. But anyway, you get the drift. People are excited, aren't they? They seem to be excited. I don't know, everybody, if people should be excited. All right, let's get on with it because I do have limited time. So what are we going to talk about first? We are going to be talking about the Digital ID Bill because, of course, that is the one that came first out of the 3. And so we're going to put up a little photo here, and excuse me if you're eating your lunch or your dinner. We do have our Prime Minister there, Anthony Albanese. The Digital Identity Bill was signed by Australia's Governor-General, David Hurley, on Thursday, the 30th of May, 2024. And that little arrangement there was put together by Australians versus the Agenda. Please go along to any of the platforms that you use and find Australians versus the Agenda. So Digital ID signed in May 2024. I feel like I'm shouting. I don't know. I'm so excited. May 2024. And of course, we've had our finance minister, Miss Katie Gallagher. She's been out and about, across the traps, in front of the prostitutes, talking it up, telling everybody that it's voluntary. Don't forget. It's voluntary. Should we have a look at Katie again? I'm really sorry if you're trying to enjoy a meal. Should we go with Miss Katie? Let's go with Katie giving us a bit of a description, shall we? Here we go, everybody.
Opposite are going to side with people who are going to pretend this bill is a whole range of things that it absolutely isn't. So when they say it's mandatory, it's not. When they say it's going to steal your identity or it's a big government conspiracy, it is not. This is about personal control of your own information. It is completely voluntary. It's an important economic reform that needs to happen. and it needs to be done quickly so that we can respond to Optus and Medibank, where people's documents have been taken and have been misused, and their privacy and their control over those documents has been abused. Please support the government's position, which is for a committee inquiry to report by the end of February.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Canavan.
Oh dear, everybody. Oh dear, oh dear. So completely voluntary. We've got to act quickly because Optus and Medibank got to keep everybody's data safe. Nothing can go wrong when everybody's data's up there. Look, I've talked about this before. Hi, Yvonne. How are you going? You're one of the wonderful people that has made it possible for me to go to Adelaide on the 1st of December. Thank you very much. Miss Katie Gallagher, where is she? Where is she? There she is. Isn't she nice? Love Katie. Big fan of Katie. Yeah, voluntary. Got to rush. Got to hurry up. Well, of course, we saw on the 30th of May it was indeed signed in, and we do have it being coming into effect on the 1st of December. That's a funny date, isn't it? Talking about Adelaide. Free Media Summit on the 1st of December in Adelaide. Also on the 1st of December, we have the Digital ID Bill coming into effect. But don't worry, everybody. It's just voluntary. There's not any conspiracy theory. Your data's going to be safe and you are in control of your data. Should we have another look at another video? This one is from Milk Bar TV. You would have seen this. Wonderful Milk Bar TV has put a comparison together when Miss Katie Gallagher was talking about, I don't know. Can I put this up? We're on PooTube. Oh, we might get in trouble for this one. No, I think we'll be right. Anyway, stuff it. Shove your censorship where you like. There we go. Let's enjoy this together.
And trustworthy and voluntary. Government's position on COVID-19 vaccinations is that it is voluntary.
The COVID vaccine is now mandatory.
All authorised workers in Victoria must be fully vaccinated
Or risk losing their
That will
job.
be implemented in a partnership between the Commonwealth and the states.
It's not a choice to get vaccinated.
Decisions that state governments and the Commonwealth government took were difficult.
The Queensland Supreme Court has found mandatory COVID vaccination for police officers and nurses unlawful.
And they balanced up, as is always the case with human rights.
Outgoing Commissioner Katarina Carroll failed to give proper consideration to human rights.
And in breach of their human rights.
It is voluntary, and obviously people will make that decision for themselves. If you're an individual, you will not have to have one of these digital IDs. It is voluntary.
That's wonderful, isn't it? Be voluntary. I love how she said there that Yodi Britney Spears balanced up with human rights. Oh, somebody's pants are on fire, I think. Somebody's pants are on fire. So don't worry, everybody. It's going to be voluntary. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Don't worry about it at all. Now, this video might get me into trouble on PooTube. It is Catherine Austin Fitz, and I have showed this before. Maybe I don't need to show it again. And she talks about walking us down the garden path to complete enslavement. And they need digital ID to do that. Yeah, we'll skip it because I do want to remind you of my video from May when they signed in. Oh, do I have it here? No, of course I don't. Why don't I have it here? Of course, when they rolled in the bill, signed it through with David Hurley. Let me just look for it. And back in May, I did a show in reaction to Miss Katie Gallagher and the voluntary nature. I just want to remind everybody what I said back in May, and I think it's still true. Here we go. Way to mandate and make
members of the coalition who are proposing to vote no because they think they're not going to have a choice. If you vote no and this bill goes down, you will be denying yourself and those that you represent an actual choice about whether a business can require that you use some form of digital ID or some other form of digital ID. So it creates the choice and creates the mechanism through which a voluntary use of a digital ID system can be maintained and mandated in this country.
We've had many world leaders say that the spicy needles were not mandated. And what they did is they passed it on down to the state premiers. Let's just talk about Australia, the state premiers, and then the premiers down to the business owners. And they were the ones that enforced it. And so the governments could always say and still say it wasn't mandated. The World Health Organization, they do this all the time. If you read through the international health regulation amendments, also the pandemic treaty, that's why they can say they're not taking away sovereignty, because they pass the buck down to the country. And this is the same thing with digital ID. Digital ID won't be compulsory or mandated by the government, but it will be the businesses. And you won't be able to do commerce unless you comply with the business policy of whatever company it is. It's a sneaky, underhanded way to mandate and make it compulsory for people to comply. I can bet you bottom dollar this is what's going to happen. So I still believe that it will remain voluntary when it rolls in on the 1st of December, when it comes into effect on the 1st of December. And what will be the punishment? What will be the consequences? Because remember when ye olde Britney Spears was rolled out, it was everybody's choice. And when you didn't make the choice as most of the general population did, there were consequences, right? Remember what they told us? There were consequences to our choice. Hi, Richard. How are you going? What are the consequences if you don't participate and volunteer to have this digital ID? Well, all sorts of things. Like I mentioned, businesses will be able to demand of you, in order to conduct your business, you need to have a digital ID. So all sorts of things will be affected. Your banking, flights, just anything. Anything you think of, it will be affected. And, as we can see with these three bills, you will be required to have a digital ID when we start talking about an under 16-year-old ban, but we'll get there. So remember, whenever they introduce these bills, and digital ID bill has been passed, it comes into effect on the 1st, going to say it again, there's always a consequence. Remember, the government likes to remind us that there is a consequence for us choosing not to participate with their laws. So, what will the consequences be? What will the punishment be when you decide that you're not going to have a digital ID? Righty, everybody. Hi, Diane. Hi, Tataskew. Yes, that's right. Let's move on to the second one, the ye olde mad bill, huh? The ye olde mad bill. There we go. There's the thumbnails for everybody's enjoyment. Had to get out that font. Does everybody remember that magazine? Back when things weren't so strange and inverted and upside down. Right, so the Mis and Disinformation Bill, what a ridiculous title that is. It's a censorship bill. It's just absolute nonsense. And let's not forget that we were given the first exposure draft back in June, and they got inundated with submissions, all the rest of it. They had to come out with the second one, and then they gave a very short period of time for the general public and everybody else to make their submissions and thoughts and so on and so forth about this. And we'll note, just like the inquiry into excess deaths, not all of the submissions are published online. I'm sure that's just an oversight, same with the public submissions for the Mis and Disinformation Bill, but who cares, right? Nobody really wants to see that, do they? No. And so everybody's really, really excited, and I'm not going to show any videos for this because this has been everywhere on all the social media platforms. Of course, all the Labor reprobates have to toe the party line. We know that nobody's going to speak up against that. And, lots of people have said that it's done, it's crushed, we've won. unfortunately, that's not the case. And we will have to wait and see until the end of November whether or not they actually get rid of it or it just sits there until after the next election. Or quite possibly, if they do bring it back up for debate at the end of November, that some people like Miss Lambie might have been offered a nice position or a nice job when she goes through the revolving door and she changes her mind. It's always possible. Always possible. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just saying I'm not going to get too excited. But I do like people's efforts in getting it out there, because we definitely need more people to speak up. So well done to everybody that's actually trying to talk about it and draw people's attention to it. That's for sure, because when we lose freedom of speech, we are no longer capable of discussing anything that's contrary to the narrative, which means we just become one big doormat, basically. So I don't know. I haven't totally bought it yet. I won't believe it until I see it. And let's get one thing straight. The end game is total enslavement, right? CBDC, universal basic income, social credit score. How do they get there? They absolutely need everyone to have a digital ID, right? They have to have people with a digital ID for this system, the network they're creating, the global one world government. They have to have the digital ID. But let's face it, this mis and disinformation bill, they don't need it to censor us. People in the audience know that we have already been censored. You are already censored. If you're not censored, you most definitely shadow banned. If you agree with any of the things that I say and you have similar opinions and you share those online, you can bet your bottom dollar you are already shadow banned. You are already censored. So they do not need this mis and disinformation bill. So out of the three, this one they can just forget about. So I have a sneaky suspicion that social media platforms have been pumping everybody's feed with all these videos about the MAD bill, getting everyone's attention focused on that, when the real problem is this under 16-year-old ban. So I have a sneaky suspicion, call me a bit of a cynic, that we've all been steered to pay attention to this MAD bill, when really we should be paying attention to this under 16-year-old bill, because they already censor us. They don't actually need it. They don't need it. They already censor us. We know with the Twitter files, it goes on and on and on. We already know they censor us. They don't need it. We've been steered these past couple of weeks to only pay attention to the MAD bill. You know, of course, we're seeing videos about the under 16-year-old ban. But all of these campaigns and everybody jumping on that train to activate people to fight against the MAD bill, you know, again, I'm not trying to detract from people's efforts to bring awareness and all these sorts of things. We absolutely need to do that. But I just can't help but feel that our feeds have been inundated with MAD bill stories and shorts and reels, because they want us to pay attention to that, because it's not that important. They can actually sacrifice that bill, because what they really want is the digital prison, the barbed wire fence that is electrified. And which bill is that? Following on from the digital ID, which comes into effect on the 1st of December, is this underage, under 16-year-old ban, which is the vital part of rolling in the digital ID. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's just me being cynical. Don't get me wrong. Get out there. Tell everyone about censorship. Tell everyone that we need to try to get back our freedom of speech. We've already bloody lost it. We're already being shadow banned, already being censored. Already being censored. Every single person watching right now is already being censored. So they can sacrifice this bill. They don't care about the mis and disinformation bill. They can do what they want. They can do what they want. All right. So the MAD bill. I don't know. Hi, everyone. Now let's move on to the last part. I do have to finish this show at a certain time. Can't speak. Put your teeth back in, Robin. Right, this under 16-year-old ban, hey, on social media. Aussie Trader, Facebook and Instagram, are you concerned they need money? Sledgehammer's going down onto them. Soon you'll see everyone coming to X. Yes, and also we want to pay attention to Albus Sneezy and Rupert Murdoch. Corporate media are very unhappy. They're not making any money anymore because everybody's sourcing their news in other places. So they've got to get people off of these platforms. And people like me and you don't want to participate in digital ID, so we won't source our media, our news from those platforms anymore. You want to watch Albanese and Rupert Murdoch. That's hello, Max Freedom. How are you? Looks like government will get 2 out of 3. Miss Dis, digital ID, under 16. Yes, I think they'll get 2 out of 3. That's all they need. That's all they need to walk koalas into that electrified fence, that digital prison. I'm with you, Max. Yes, I agree. Right, so where are we? Shall we see another photo? We all know, 2 cheeks of the same ass, Labor and Liberal Party, all of this stuff. Let's have a little bit of it was drawn to people's attention much before this, but anyway, South Australian Premier Peter McNassus, I don't know his last name, don't care, introduces draft legislation proposal called South Australian Children Social Media Safety Bill. That's a great name. Good on you, Peter. To ban children under 14 from social media platforms. Now, it was actually spoken about before that, but this was when it really came into the media. That was September. And, this is where they're using the Overton window, things which are unacceptable, which sit outside the window. They start talking about it. They start using corporate media as their megaphone, and they start those things that are outside the window. They start putting things on the TV and putting those little brain rot seeds in your brain and shifting that window over to make unacceptable things become acceptable. So that's what Mr. Peter, South Australian Premier, was participating in there. Was an Overton window shifting exercise. And so now we are where we are. And so in case you're watching overseas, we have our parliamentarians of particular side of the bum. And it was all of them, but who cares? Wanting to ban children under the age of 16 from accessing social media to protect them from harm, like bullying and porn and all these sorts of things, which is absolute tripe. I don't believe it. Don't believe it for a second. And with all these parliamentarians out there talking about, I've been driving in the car. No, I've been out there. I've been speaking to parents, and parents are demanding that the government support them in protecting their children online and blah, 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 working with the parents and blah, blah, blah. We've had another lady, never seen her face before, some other censorship hag out there in Parliament saying that parents are too busy to watch their kids' activity on social media because both parents are too busy working, trying to pay the mortgage. So implying that they need the government to take the role of the parents to monitor children's activity online. Well, lady, that's a load of nonsense. And plus, what are the children going to be doing if you're working? Then they should be doing other things which needs parents to be watching them, like, joining sports group after school, all the things that Albanese was talking about kids should be getting back to, playing sports and going outside. I mean, this woman saying that implying that the government should be responsible for monitoring children's activity online because the parents are too busy. Nonsense. Last time I checked, myself and my husband were the parents and the caregivers in this household, and we certainly don't need the government parenting our children. Thank you very much. But anyway, that's some silly woman from today. Honestly, I tell you what, these people are nuts. Righty, so totally walking us down to the digital prison, right? First thing I thought of was all the creeps out there, right? So say they bring this in, which they will. Say they bring it in, and you've got the creeps online, the groomers, right? And the old revolting reprobates, right? What happens, when they get access to children, something happens, they're taken to court, and then part of their defence is, well, everybody in Australia is supposed to be over 16 when you have any interaction with them online. So in my mind, it was consensual. What are they going to do then? Because it'll happen. It will happen. So that was the first thing that crossed my mind. It'll be fun times for creeps online because they can just say, well, I thought they were over 16. Roll in the creeps. So you can't tell me that the government is interested in protecting children because it's going to be a great time for all the creeps. You'll have an excuse to say, I just thought they were over 16. Creep hotline. So that's the first thing. But how are they going to do that? How are they going to do that? So I think the vast majority of people watching the show today will have seen. Oh. When they had to admit in Parliament that they're going to be checking everyone. Oh, maybe we'll look at this one first. Let's look at our Communications Minister, Miss Michelle Rowland. We all know that I'm a huge fan of Michelle Rowland. So how are they going to make sure that everybody's over 16? Well, we know facial recognition, right? Let's just have a little bit of a look for anyone that's not seen it. Okay, here we go.
Actually being able to recognise and enforce. We're doing our age assurance trial at the moment, and we know that some of those technologies actually have differentiators in them depending on even things like ethnicity. So we have to take these different factors into account. So this is down to face recognition? Yes, and yes. And children, particularly boys, sometimes can look older than their years. Sometimes depending on gender and depending...
Oh, gender. Why? Because so many of them are confused that it's made to believe that they're women. Gosh, she's woke, isn't she? Right.
On ethnicity, there can be variances in that.
Yeah.
So
you've got to take that all into consideration in this legislation?
That's correct.
That's correct. So there we go, facial recognition, right? We've all seen that. And then when they actually had to admit that not only are people who are over 16 going to have to prove their age to access social media, it also means that you and I have to, right? And so when they actually had to admit that, it was all shock and horror. Shock and horror, everybody. Look, everybody's going to have to do it.
13 or 14 or 15 or 16. You're also testing to see, by definition, if they're 16 plus. So if there's going to be age verification, everybody is going to have to go through an age verification process, won't they?
Yes.
Yes.
So
now, I want you to pay attention to the lady with her head down, writing at the moment with the glasses and the short hair. She does the most phenomenal, it was a kind of smart-ass snub. She does the head flick and it's great. I just like this video for this. We all know the information contained, but please enjoy the head flick and the return to some stern writing. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Oh, this is wonderful.
So this isn't just about the privacy or collecting data about kids. This is literally everybody accessing social media. That's how it has to work, isn't it?
Yes.
Senator Shoebridge, you just used the term age verification. You may not have been in the room when we had a discussion about the distinction between age verification and age assurance. This is an age assurance trial.
This is, if you're going to have age assurance for kids 13, 14, 15 or 16.
Did you say it? Oh, just one more time. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, she's up there with Jean-Pierre, top of mind. Oh, I like this lady. Who is she?
If you're going to have age assurance for kids 13, 14, 15 or 16, testing, if they're that age, you're testing everyone's age. And you're doing it at that level of age assurance. And that has privacy and data protection implications for literally everybody accessing social media, doesn't it?
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why we've commissioned consumer research to look at consumer willingness and particular aspects that are important to them.
Oh, Pooh, what happened there? Did we miss it? Oh, here we go. Hold on. Sorry, I know everybody's
Age verification and age assurance. This is an age assurance trial.
This is, if you're going
I love it. She went back to the very stern writing. God, that's great. Oh, small things in me, small minds, Robin. But there we go. You know, everybody, we're all going to, we won't be mandated, won't be compulsory. But if you want to continue to enjoy social media and, of course, we won't have the mis and disinformation bill, probably, most likely. So you won't be censored. You'll still have free speech, everyone. Don't worry. Amazing, isn't it? And so, you know, lo and behold, it's not the children that are going to have to verify their age. It's the people over 16, which means everybody else, right? Get it? Huh? Oh, geez. Right. And so they're talking about it. And so we do have another video here. And, you know, they're really, while everybody's been focused on the mis and disinformation bill, they're really hurrying this one through. And this video, if I'm not mistaken, is from today. Let's pay attention to this, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Will that be legislated by the end of next week?
Well, look, we certainly want to help get something through Parliament.
Will it be legislated by next week? Want to help get something through Parliament? Are they going to do public submissions for this one like they did the mis and disinformation bill or the investigation into Excess deaths? No. Why not? They don't care about your opinion. They don't want to give any time for this to fail. No time. It's got to happen now. See the urgency? Why is this one so urgent?
On this before Parliament rises.
So there's criticism and difference on the other bill. This one, there's bipartisanship. You want this done.
Well, Peter Dutton led the national debate on this.
This one is bipartisan. That's interesting, isn't it?
I mean, he came out in June and said the age should be 16 and we'll do it within 100 days of being elected. So he's...
Within 100 days of... That's 3 months. Within 3 months. If that's not urgent, I don't know what is.
This from the start, and it's consistent with his whole career of standing up and protecting children, whether it was in the police force or in the Home Affairs portfolio before that. The bottom line is social media companies have abrogated their responsibility to Australian kids. They couldn't care less about the mental health of Australian kids. We're seeing shocking data.
No, I think premiers like Dictator Dan couldn't give two buttons about the mental health of Victorians, let alone youth. And what's he just done? His revolving door. I just mentioned it with Jackie Lambie. Watch out for her. Where's he gone after his revolving door? Working for an institute that looks into mental health for youth. Bloody hypocrite. I'll tell you
in
what.
terms of mental health, self-harm and other things. And we should come together.
Self-harm, what about social contagion? Like there's gender dysphoria and then there's social contagion where children are now exposed to this Marxist overthrow and set themselves between children and their parents and convince them that they're the opposite sex. Social contagion. Thank you very much.
And get this done. So we'll review the legislation, but we want to see an outcome on this because Australian.
They'll review the legislation. Don't care about your opinion. They do not care what you think about this.
Families want it. It's the right thing to do, and we need to protect Australian kids.
We need to protect Australian kids. Wash your mouth out with soap. David. Wash your mouth out with soap, David. I've just mentioned a couple of things there where the government couldn't give two buttons about the mental health of our youth. I think it was Mel Gibson that was talking about looking at people's fruits when he was talking about the Catholic Church and the Vatican. Judge a man by his fruits. Yeah, have a look at the government's fruits over the past nearly 5 years now in regards to protecting our youth. Huh? We've got lots of young athletes, lots of young men with heart troubles. Why is that? Because you were protecting the youth? We've got lots of kids with mental health problems from being locked down. In some cities, record lengths compared to other cities across the world that were locked down. I'm sure that did. No harm to the youth of Australia. So wash your mouth out with soap, Mr. David Coleman. So everybody, I would be much more concerned about the under 16-year-old ban. They do not care about our youth. They do not care about harm. Any of those things. Bullying online, all of those things. No, they don't. No, they don't. They're going to roll it in, pass something by the end of next week, have it enforced within 90 days, no discussion. They say they get out and talk to parents. No, they don't. No feedback from the public, no public submissions. And if you want to participate in social media, you're going to have to get a digital ID. And what would the consequences be if you don't? Just like we were talking about with the digital ID bill, which comes into effect on the 1st of December. What will be the consequences if you don't verify your age using facial recognition technology to do that? What will be the consequences of your choice not to do that? We're really going to have people living outside of society. We already know about the segregation. When people chose not to have ye olde spicy needles, we learnt about segregation pretty quick, didn't we? We learnt about losing your job because you refused to participate in a third phase trial drug experiment, didn't we? We learned about that pretty quickly. But this is really going to separate the people holding on to their moral compass and the free nature of what humans were born with. Because the consequences of not signing up for a digital ID, the consequences of refusing to comply with facial recognition in order to access social media. And when we're not just talking about social media, we're also talking about businesses, because when you combine the digital ID bill and the under 16-year-old ban, they've got all their bases covered for everything you need to do online, right? So the under 16-year-old ban, facial technology will restrict your use of social media, so TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook, PooTube, all of them, right? And then what are they going to do when you need to access the internet to do things like banking, book a flight, research information on LinkedIn, or whatever it is? You need to have a digital ID, right? So they've got all their bases covered to do anything on a computer. And in order to live now, there's still ways to get around it. But in order to live now, people need to do things online. So they've covered all their bases with the digital ID bill and the under 16-year-old ban. And they sacrifice the MAD bill because it's really not that important. They don't need it. They've censored us already. And they got everyone to look at that. What will the punishment be for not participating with the digital ID? What will be the punishment for not allowing yourself to participate with facial recognition in order to use social media? You will become part of the society that lives separate from society, and we will really see a segregation there. And for a lot of people, it won't matter. You know, there's lots of people that survive quite nicely without doing anything online. That's fantastic. There's a lot of things I don't do online. I refuse to participate. So I think I'll just end this comment first. So all of that to say, these three bills, it is my conspiracy allegedly. We've been purposely shown all this stuff about the MAD bill over the past 2 weeks. They don't need it. They don't need it. They wanted us to look that way. They want us to think we've had a win. I still don't believe that either. I don't trust people like Jackie Lambie and all these people. I'll see it when I believe it. But the real danger is this under 16-year-old bill. Digital ID bill is done. It's coming into effect on the 1st. When this next one comes in, think of the urgency. They want to get something done by the end of next week. And bring it in within 3 months, 90 days. This is the danger. This is the real danger. And then we will have people living outside of society. All right, everybody. So my thoughts in regards to all of that is, if you do not want to participate, maybe I'll just talk about myself. I don't want to participate in that as much as I can avoid it. And I did speak about this at the last Worldwide Rally for Freedom rally about digital ID and the sneaky underhanded tactics that the government has done up until now to get us to comply without us really noticing. And we need to pay attention to these things. And now with the digital ID bill and the under 16-year-old ban, there will still be people that they need to get onto a digital ID bill, and they will use these sneaky underhanded tactics to do it. I just want to remind people, if you don't want to participate, be aware, be mindful, find another way to do what you want to do. It's everywhere. We know it's the government, three-letter agencies, all the rest of them are trying to bring on digital ID. I want to take it back to the food supply. Of course, we've had ye olde bird flu. Let's kill all the chickens and, you know, some cows as well. They're trying to encourage us to eat 3D printed meat and lab-grown meat. Catherine Austin Fitz talks a lot about controlling the food supply because that's a great way to bring on digital ID, CBDC, universal basic income, and the social credit system, walking us down the path to total enslavement. Now, I just want to point out the sneaky, underhanded ways that our governments will get people to sign up to the digital ID. And Roger Crook, our Premier here in Western Australia in April, May and June of 2024, wanted to ease the cost of living pressures for families by bribing parents with $150 for primary school students and $250 for high school students. And what did you have to do to get that money? All you had to do was sign up for a digital ID. There were other ways you could get that money, but people didn't bother to do the research. The amount of people I saw that were thrilled to get that money because they couldn't be bothered looking how to get that money without signing up for a digital ID. Roger Crook should be ashamed of himself. He had a Facebook post 24 hours after this program began, and there were thousands of families who had signed up for a digital ID to get their hands on this money within 24 hours. We might think, oh, it's only 1,000 people, but it's 1,000 too many. It shouldn't even be one family, because when we engage in these sneaky, underhanded measures to get us onto digital ID by bribing the parents and using our children, we continue down that train line, and each little stop that we take, each program like this that we engage in, takes us further to the end of the train line, which is total enslavement. So be wary of these programs that the government will put under your nose to give you a couple of dollars to sign on for the digital ID. Just think about it, everyone. There we go, everybody. That was recorded and put together there by Mr. Max Freedom, wonderful independent media and drone extraordinaire, and lots of other wonderful things too as well that Max does. So please just be very wary, be very careful, and do research when the government puts these things under your nose, and pay attention. You know, more than likely the mad bill will fall on its behind, and we won't see that come through because they don't need it. They can sacrifice that bill. They already censor us. It doesn't matter. They need us on digital ID to walk us down that garden path. They already got digital ID coming into effect 1st of December. There's a sense of urgency about getting something done about this under 16-year-old ban. And then further to that, within 90 days, there's a real sense of urgency. So pay attention. Hi, Kerry. How are you going? So that's it for today. And things don't happen in lockstep, do they? No, they're not doing it in the UK. No, they're not doing it. They're not doing it in the other countries. All right, everyone. So that's the show for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Yes, Kerry. I think I can agree with that one. They can all go fisked with their digital ID. Exactly. They can all go and get fisked. Absolutely. Right. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much. As I said, have a wonderful day. And we're going to go out with Paul Jarrah. Gonna get ya. And make sure you stay relentless. And join me for Relentless tonight. We have moved to Wednesday night with paramedic Harry Fisher. Amazing, amazing man. All right. See you guys later.
And this dog fucking maggot fucking dog here locks down the country.
To all of you who still trust the system.